What's going on, guys? Your boy Rob Lee back here with yet another video, and we are going over my week 3 DraftKings lineups. This week was very stressful, to say the least. Before the 4 o'clock games, I was losing in all of my early contests. Luckily, my afternoon contests and and it was one contest I was in because of my late pivots, was able to cash in a couple of these. Broke even for the most part, so I can't complain on a week like this, but I will say, it was tough. It was really, really tough. I just realized I didn't play in any of the free contests this week. I usually put my lineups in free contests, but anyway, real quick, guys, if you like the content, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and let's get to these lineups. So, I'm starting to realize, and I told you guys in the videos prior to this one, the afternoon slate is just where my bread and butter is. 3 weeks in a row, I'm cashing in the top, 10% of these lineups, and I'm literally just one pivot away, one player away, 2 players away from really taking all the money down. So, know what's going to happen soon. So you guys stay tuned. But let's get to some of these lineups, and I'll go through my thought process. So first, this week, I didn't play cash at all. I didn't like the cash options. And I'm pretty sure I would have lost if I did decide to play cash. Maybe not. I would have played Jalen Hurts probably, and Amon-Ra St. Brown and T. Higgins and players like that. But I would have played Fournette and Montgomery. But yeah, I didn't play cash. I only play cash if it's just obvious plays, just like last week, and I feel like I got an edge. With cash, you got to be careful, especially going deep into the season. People get better. The players that try to play DraftKings, they quit after they haven't won anything or they're losing in 3 weeks. So it'd be more sharp players playing as the weeks go on and the season goes on. So you got to be careful there. But yeah, I didn't play cash. I just played straight GPPs. Now I did play a little bit more money compared to my bankroll than I wanted to, but it was still fine. Like I said, at least I ended up breaking even. Can't complain about that. But so my thought process going into this week was so the chalky quarterback was supposed to be Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff, along with, of course, Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. Those were the top 4 quarterbacks. So for the most part, I stayed away from those quarterbacks. I played Jalen Hurts. When it comes to Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen, even though if they're going to be high on, they're going to be high on, but you still gotta take your shots with them, because a lot of times they're high on because of the ceilings, especially Josh Allen, that they provide. On the other end of the spectrum, I do love playing Kirk Cousins stacks when he's not highly owned. I love to play him, Derek Carr. Those are the type of quarterbacks that I've won money on in the past because people wasn't playing their stacks, and I got on their stacks and looked at the matchups. And now this year everybody was on them, but when people are on them, there's no reason to play with the field and people being overconfident for Kirk Cousins. It's Kirk Cousins. There's no reason to be over the field for Jared Goff. It's Jared Goff. Like, that was an easy phase. If I lose to Jared Goff, I just lost to Jared Goff. If I lose to Kirk Cousins, I just okay, whatever. I will take that chance every week. If the field is it's overconfident for quarterbacks like Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins, I will definitely sway the other way. So my thought process definitely fading those. Now, when looking into lineups, of course, I do use roto grinders. I think this was the afternoon lineups I was making. But for the most part, what I try to do is, okay, everybody was thinking about Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. What's a great pivot play that's also a guy that can, score a bunch of points? That would be Dalvin Cook. However, Dalvin Cook was also highly owned. So for the most part, I faded that entire game, other than Amon-Ra St. Brown, which he's too cheap. So, and the Lions offense is very condensed. It's only like 3 players for the most part, and really just 2 that gets most of the fantasy points and the touchdowns and the high value looks, and that's T.J. Hockenson, DeAndre Swift, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. I hate playing T.J. Hockenson, but I do play him from time to time. And DeAndre Swift, I play him almost all the time because he's usually low owned. But yeah, I played Amon-Ra St. Brown from that game. But division games, the total was like 52, but these division games, man, they slugfests, and no matter who the teams are, like a lot of times these division games, these teams know each other so well. You might have a bad cornerback, and even a bad cornerback on. And I'm not saying the Lions got bad cornerbacks because they actually don't. Just saying, you might have a cornerback or a secondary that's not as good going against a great receiver like Justin Jefferson, but they know how to play Justin. If you play against Justin Jefferson 5-10 times in the last 3 years, you're going to play him better than, Devontae Adams or somebody. In division games, the teams, the coaches are so familiar with each other, so these games tend to go under. These games, they don't do anything, and these are games that the teams, they mark in their calendar that they really want to win and really want to play. So take a look out for that. So a lot of times my advantage is when it's a high total game that's in the division. A lot of times I bet the under. I'm betting the under on a lot of these games. If the home is an underdog, I'm betting their spread because they tend to keep it close. And in DFS, I just fade the game a lot of the times, especially if the game's going to be highly owned. But you got to realize teams like the Lions, even though they looking good in the first 2 games, they're very volatile. So, but anyway, I'm rambling on, just little things in my mind I like to think about when making my lineups and betting on sports and stuff. But let's get into some of these lineups. So we'll look into some of the lineups, see what my thought process was. Let me close that. Go to results. So this week, one thing about this week, man, the injuries. The injuries was bad. And, I forgot about this lineup. So not too many times have I had these snowflake lineups, but man, it was ugly. So instead of playing, of course, Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson, my 3 main quarterbacks were Stafford, Patrick Mahomes, and Joe Burrow, because even though this is a division game, whatever, it's still Matt Stafford, it's still Cooper Kupp. They can definitely turn on the fire when they want to, but this is one of the worst Cooper Kupp games we've had in the past couple of years. He will give you a dud like that. It just happens. Like I said, I don't usually like playing TJ, but he fit in this lineup. His salary was actually pretty low. So this lineup has Stafford, Cooper Kupp. Did I bring it back? Yeah, I brought it back with AJ Green. So Rondale Moore was out again. I love playing AJ Green. AJ Green has typically, at least last year, he had a decent floor for his price, and people never play AJ Green. And I think he's actually great leverage off of, the Greg Dortches. He's not going to be a great leverage off of Marquise Brown this year. Last year he was great leverage off when people try to play Christian Kirk, because Christian Kirk just never got many looks. And he gets end zone looks, and also he's a great leverage off of Zach Ertz as well. But he put up a 0. I don't know if he was definitely on the field. You know what? He got hurt. So he got hurt. So this week was just a bloodbath. David Montgomery, like I've said in the past, I don't mind playing the chalky running backs, because the chalky running backs, they're in good position, and a lot of times, I will say, running backs a lot of times are free squares. The chalky running backs, the running backs in the great position, a lot of times they're free squares. Even if a lot of people are playing them, hey, sometimes just play with the field and get different somewhere else. And usually you're going to see the best lineups are going to have like wide receivers you never thought of playing, like like Hollins here. Although that was a pretty sharp play. After 11 o'clock, after all the injuries came out, there was some value that came out. We thought the only value was Ben Schroeneck, whatever his name is, from the Rams, under 4K. It wasn't a lot of under 4K receivers, but you had Jacoby Myers going out. I actually played a lot of Aguilar. We'll get to that in a second. I faded Dameon Pierce. I had him in a couple lineups before. But I mean, he got into the end zone, but he only had 80 yards. Take the touchdown away, and he gives you 11 points on $5, and that don't really do anything for you. But, I mean, if his price stays low enough, if he's getting enough run, you try to, you want, so he had 20 attempts last game. He don't get targeted that much. So he's not going to be in the passing game a lot. So he's not going to be the greatest running back to roster unless they're home favorites or something. But 20 rushes, if he's getting inside the 5 carries, then I guess he's decent to roster. But even at 5K, he's you try to look for ceilings. So you try to look for DeAndre Swift type of players. But like I said, this week was just ridiculous. But like I said, sometimes like these lineups, like Dameon Pierce was chalk, DeAndre Swift was somewhat chalk and decent, and he fits in this lineup at 5,000, so it's not terrible. But these receivers, like Terry McLaurin and Hollins, this guy had Terry McLaurin and Hollins, absolutely no stacking other than, oh no, he stacked. He had Jalen Hurts to AJ Brown. I'm playing a lot of Jalen Hurts to AJ Brown. This was Devonta Smith's week. I don't know if I'm chasing that, but we'll see. But anyway, so that was that lineup. Had this one here too. This is my Jason Hurts, but once again, so I had Mixon here. I decided to go a little different. I went with Kamara. He was low on. Just a late decision, trying to get because I don't want my lineups to be too chalky. I don't like everything being under 10% though. A lot of times, Irv Smith to me was a free square in that game environment. Here's another thing about division slugfest, like short routes, short passes. They're going to try to get the tight end involved a lot. So, and even at 25%, you have him in this lineup other than Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson. You have a little bit of leverage, even though he's highly owned. But he kind of can be a free square. You do want these players who project well, regardless of ownership in your lineups. Christian Kirk, had him. This lineup was basically done by the second game, so I mean it really didn't matter. Christian Kirk didn't help much, but that was that lineup. Let's get to some of the lineups that I actually did decent in. So now I thought I was completely dead before the 4 o'clock games. This lineup actually fought back right here. So before the 4 o'clock games, had Cordell Patterson, Connor, and Jones remaining. I played Aguilar. I thought about playing Devontae Parker, but then I looked at his stat line, and even after Jacoby Myers went out, I was like, but here's the thing you got to realize. Sometimes when players go out, like Jacoby Myers is the number 1 receiver, and Aguilar, I believe, is the number 2. Him and Bourne might be split, and I'm not sure exactly how the offense is ran, but a lot of times we think the second receiver is going to get more run when the top receiver goes out, but sometimes some teams have a receiver in the depth chart under the number 1 receiver, where they'll keep the number 2 receiver in their same role, and they will bring up another receiver that's the 3rd or 4th receiver, but that receiver is actually behind the main receiver, so he plays the main receiver role. And I think that's what happened with the Patriots. As I'm thinking, okay, Aguilar is going to get more targets, and I'm not the only one that thought that. I'm pretty sure he was a 9.5 before Jacoby Myers said he was going to be out. And then we also looking at last week, and I love playing Aguilar. Aguilar has actually won me a couple of tournaments back when he was in Oakland, because I would play him and Derek Carr would be solo owned, and it takes one. Like he has a 40, he had a fumble, 2 reception, 41 yards. He had that damn fumble, but look, he takes that to the house. You're talking about 13, 14 points, and I'm even further up the leaderboard. But I think he's a nice little dart throw sometimes. But I didn't think about that, and I'll think about that next time. Sometimes I realized Devontae Parker, who's a possession receiver, he's actually pretty similar to Jacoby Myers. That should have been what I thought about. So I could have actually pivoted to Devontae Parker, at least in one of my lineups, because I actually ended up putting him in 2 of my lineups. But I could have split. It had Aguilar in one and Devontae Parker in another. But either way, this lineup actually. So I tried to do the Josh Allen, Diggs, and I brought it back with Waddle. I like Waddle's floor a little better than Tyreek Hill's. people would think that crazy, but once again, he's a possession receiver, and he also can take the top off. We already know what Waddle and Hill can do, but I thought he was better, especially for cheaper. And I think a lot of people, I don't think as many people would be on Waddle as much as Hill. So this is my thesis. Logan Thomas was projecting well in this game environment. They're just gonna give him the ball. Zay Jones kept coming up in my optimizer. And I base it off what I've been saw from him in week 1, and Trevor Lawrence love giving him the ball. He gets open, and he also has a decent ceiling. And now in this offense, he has an even crazier ceiling. I had the Ravens defense. I play a lot. I play defenses against Mac Jones. Not because I think Mac Jones is a bad quarterback. It's just he's young. He's gonna make mistakes, and 3 interceptions, 3 sacks, and the Ravens have a decent defense. And it was only 3K, and it was low on. I always play low on defenses if I can. But my main things was Cordell Patterson. I play Cordell Patterson every week. He's never owned, and for the last year and 4 weeks, we've seen Cordell Patterson be one of the top running backs in the league, and he still doesn't get owned, and he was cheap. He was in the same price range as Montgomery, and since we didn't have like great leverage plays, like I was looking at Montgomery, I was looking at Fournette, these running backs that was going to be highly owned, but a lot of times I like I said, like say if Joe Mixon is highly owned, but T Higgins is low owned. T Higgins is a great leverage play, but it was not a lot of plays like that this week. Like people were like Joe Mixon was decently owned. My Joe Burrow stacks kind of was a leverage, but he wasn't like super owned where like, half or even a quarter of the field is rostering Joe Mixon, where a Joe Burrow stack is taking over all the Joe Mixon stacks, but they were still low owned in general. So, but Connor, once again, low owned. He has a ceiling. He usually gets all the goal line work, and he fumbled a touchdown or dropped a touchdown pass, basically, in my opinion. But yeah, this lineup, I was really down, but once Cordero Patterson and Zay Jones started going off, and Connor, even with his 8 points, helped out a little bit at 1.7. Like you passing everybody who don't got no PMR left, so that's why I was able to cash that lineup. Had a couple more, but yeah, just the early games really suck. But the afternoon games, and I'm glad I'm doing this, because before, what a lot of people would do is, they'll make their main slate lineups, their main slate sucking. Then they try to like, okay, let me try the afternoon. Let me plug in a lineup. Let's just do it quickly. They just plug in players. The lineup's not projecting well. And I say, hey, this year, I'm going to focus on making a highly projected lineups for afternoon. I used to do the same thing, and I was still cashing and win afternoon only tournaments in the past. But now I'm like, well, I've seen that I'm good at afternoon only. Let's just actually make these afternoon only lineups as if I'm making a regular lineup, and just take over the field. We could probably look at some of these lineups to see if they were poorly made. But let's start with mine here. So this Marcus Mariota. I had Marcus Mariota. I had a regular lineup with him. But then I swapped him out I completely got rid of the lineup. I'm pretty sure that lineup had a similar build. I probably had Metcalf in that lineup instead of Lockett, or I may have even had Rashard Penny. And I had Amon-Ra, but I got rid of that lineup. Kind of wish I kept it, because I think I would have did decent with it in the main slate. But I was like, well, if I'm getting shares of Marcus Mariota in afternoon, then I'll just take that. But in afternoon, the ownership's going to be a little more condensed. You try to find these really low. So the one thing about that I've realized, you only need 1 or 2 under 10% players in afternoon only. Somebody that's going to be on the field is going to be low on. So Josh Palmer, he was popping up in my if I could pull this up. Yeah, Josh Palmer, when I was running, he was coming up at 91% in this build. I even had to, sometimes my exposures, you gotta, like Cooper Kupp was coming in at 100%, so I had to break him down to 50. But yeah, Josh Palmer was just coming up in all my optimals. So if I see a player coming up, it means that he fits really well, and he doesn't really need to do much. Could have did even better. He 1 fucking yard, excuse my language, under 99. Just 1 yard, and they was in the red zone. I was like looking at the game, like, please just give him the touchdown. He gets the 100-yard bonus and the touchdown. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I'm like winning. So what did I have? I had what was my points? 102. I'm not winning, but I'm definitely around this. That would I would have won a little bit more money. Oh no, wait. Yeah, that lineup actually. No, I had more. Hold up. Let me see something real quick. Nah, not that lineup. Oh, I lost the damn lineup. Hold up. I don't really use. I'm not usually on the main site like that. But let me see. Results. This lineup scored. Oh, 145. Okay. Let's say 10 points. I would have won $150 probably. I probably would have passed this guy. Nobody had Josh Palmer. I'm like the only person that had Josh Palmer in this thing. Let's get back to the lineup. Let's look at it real quick. So yeah, of course I had to double stack. This week I was double stacking. I don't usually double stack bring back, but in the afternoon only definitely double stack bring back because it only takes 1 game to go off. Mariota, Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Lockett as the bring back. I knew Tyler Lockett was going to be unowned, and he actually has been getting targets, and they have been throwing the ball, and he can get open. So just because Russell Wilson's not throwing the ball, and I think that's what a lot of us was thinking with him and Metcalf. But in afternoon only, I definitely can take shots. I mean, he's only competing against a couple of different wide receivers in afternoon only slates as opposed to the main slate, right? Marquise Brown, I had him in almost all these lineups. He's just getting crazy work with Kyler Murray. They're negative game script. This is ridiculous. Look at these. This is 17, 11, 6. I'm a Ravens fan. Marquise Brown, he wanted these targets. He was getting these type of targets while he was in Baltimore, though, so I don't want to hear nothing from him. But yeah, of course, Fournette, like I said, free square. I could have. Now, the one thing about this lineup, as you'll see in my other lineup that I'm about to show you that actually cashed the afternoon only, I was high. Once again, I played another Cordell Patterson, and but I played James Robinson and Travis Etienne. And I'm trying to think, why did I not have? I mean, I didn't need to play Eckler and Fournette in the same lineup. I probably could have went with James Robinson or Cordell Patterson, which are also I'm just a Cordell Patterson or James Robinson and a Josh Palmer 1 yard away from probably taking down the tournament at this point. But it's okay. I know I'm on the right path. This lineup right here, this cash though. Everything went well instead of the Matt Stafford stack. So Cooper Kupp, I did Ben Schroeneck, whatever his name is. He had some yards brought back. He stepped out of bounds on this big, but he's on the field a lot. Here's the thing: these opportunities sometimes is better than skill, and I don't think he's the greatest receiver. I think he's actually pretty bad. But he's on the field. He's running routes. And he's 3,400 in a high octane offense, so he's going to get opportunity. And at 3,400, this is all you need him to do. And he's showing the ability that he can break some off. That's all you need him to do to break it. And at 2.9, if he gets into the end zone, you have a lineup that no one else has. And he's overtaking people when they play other receivers. Once again, Metcalf 17%. Like. In afternoon, I'm always gonna go after that because and Marquise Brown only 19%. I just think that's ridiculous too. But I'm trying to see who. I mean, Drake London ownership was a little higher. The Jacksonville Jaguars. I was playing Jacksonville defense regardless if Herbert was playing or not. It was like he's not 100%. They're not gonna be that good. Evan Ingram touchdown was called back too. So just a lot of unlucky breaks. But hey, I can't complain. I broke even. But anyway, guys, that's about it. I can talk about this all day. I'm gonna start trying to do some first look videos and stuff too. I just be so busy during the week. But anyway, guys, see you guys next week. See you guys in a couple days. Hopefully, I'll be putting up another sports card video. And yeah, peace.